There are invisible enemies that steal your motivation, and no matter how hard you work or how much money you make, as long as they're in your life, everything else is pointless. There are 6 types of people who can turn your life into a nightmare, and I'll give you detailed instructions on how to get rid of them. Let's start with the first type, the naysayer. Characteristics of a naysayer. This is a person who constantly talks about negativity and how bad things are happening in the world. They claim that it's already too late, that everything is over, and that all that's left is to live out your life and die. You feel that this aura of negativity constantly emanates from them. After talking to them, your desire to do anything drops, your motivation vanishes, and your drive to achieve anything disappears. After all, why do anything if there's negativity everywhere, and any negativity drains your energy? So hang out with positive people who give you confidence in yourself, who say that everything will work out, that everything will be fine even if things are bad right now, because hope is the only thing that gives you a chance to change the situation. Even statistically, for those who found themselves in a bad situation, for example a group of people caught in an avalanche and trapped or in some dire predicament, negativity always reduced their chances of survival. After all, when a person talks about negativity, they focus on the bad, and the bad drains their energy. And the only thing a person who wants to survive has is the energy to survive. When a person sees no chance, no way out, their energy shuts down, and they stop doing anything to survive. In the end, everything ends in a tragic outcome. That's why negative people are among the worst people you should cut out of your life. The second type, the passenger. You might have known this person since childhood, from a previous job, or met them by chance somewhere along the way. You can interact with them easily. It's effortless, out of habit, everything seems fine. But if you look closer, it becomes clear. You are already moving forward while they're standing still. Everything in their life is stable, familiar, and predictable. They aren't regressing, but they aren't growing either. In their world, there are no new goals, no risk, and no development. And here's the problem. Every minute spent with such a person drags you back. Not because they're a bad person, but because they aren't moving forward. And being around them, you too begin to slow down without even realizing it. Conversations become repetitive, the same old things, endless, and your energy dwindles. Instead of building connections with people who are growing, discovering new things, earning, and creating, you get stuck in the quagmire of familiar contacts. This is the second category of passengers, those who are comfortable but useless. They don't harm you directly, but they take away what matters most: your time, your attention, and your chance to surround yourself with momentum. Real growth begins only when you're surrounded by people who raise the bar, not those who keep you stuck in place under the guise of good old relationships. The third type, the gossip. This is a person who takes an interest in other people's problems and failures so they can later spread this news everywhere. Such people often make up things that never actually happened. This is a person who constantly says negative things about people behind their backs, but would never say it to their face in front of everyone. They constantly pit you or other people against each other, mixing up various facts like a salad or poker cards. If a person speaks ill of others behind their backs, they will do the same to you. It's only a matter of time. You can never build a safe relationship with such people. They will drain all your energy and strength, leaving you with no desire to go on living. So get rid of such people without feeling guilty, because if you don't do it now, things will get much worse later. The fourth type, envious people. I really can't stand envious people. What exactly is the effect of envy on people? There is a type of envious person who looks at what another person has and feels a strong desire to have the same thing. But most envious people actually want others not to have what they themselves possess. And this is a very negative type of envy. Never associate with envious people, because the moment you start to grow and have more than they do, you'll become their target. So how do you determine who is envious? How do you recognize them? And especially these 2 types of envious people, those who want to have what others have, and secondly, those who want others not to have it. You know, those who want others not to have something, even on a day-to-day level. Each of you understands this perfectly well, and they're easy to spot. They usually have a negative attitude toward others' successes. They usually always try to belittle others' achievements, and they're very prone to the syndrome where a person exaggerates their own contributions to their success. But when others achieve the same success, they downplay its significance and explain or justify it all as luck, a happy coincidence, or some kind of connections, and so on. No matter what type of envious person you encounter, it's best to protect yourself from them. Now you might ask, so who should I choose instead of them? When it comes to envious people, always choose those who are constantly learning from others, who strive for self-improvement, and who are hard on themselves and demanding of themselves. This is the complete opposite of envious people. The fifth type, the proud person. The people I personally avoid are the proud and arrogant ones. These people are always preoccupied with elevating themselves. The essence of pride and arrogance is that such a person always places themselves above others, always and in any situation. And why shouldn't you associate with such people? Well, do you really need to associate with and be around people who consider you inferior to themselves, who always treat you like a second-class citizen? They may not say it out loud, but you can be sure, if they are proud and arrogant toward others, they treat you the same way. They're just hiding it for now. That's why you should avoid such people. So who should you choose? You should associate with humble people. Listen, here's the difference between proud and arrogant people and humble ones. The thing is, proud and arrogant people are completely self-centered. They see only themselves. Their world is egocentric. The whole world revolves around them. The whole world exists for them. Everything in the world works for their benefit, and accordingly, you are, in a sense, part of the staff created to enhance their comfort in life. Modest people, on the other hand, direct their gaze and all their attention outward. They always look outward, looking at other people. When you interact with humble people, they always pay attention to you. They notice how you eat, how you move, what you say, and so on. In other words, they are not the center of their own world. For them, others are the center. That is, the center of their world is wherever their attention is directed. These people will certainly not ruin your life. Moreover, these people will help you achieve a great deal. They do everything possible to help you, support you, and are always ready to do you a favor. So be humble yourself and surround yourself with humble people. And arrogant people never learn from their mistakes, yet mistakes are part of growth. They stop seeing their own flaws and end up hitting rock bottom, because those who don't see where they stumble won't be able to go far. The sixth type, the energy vampire. You might have interacted with them normally and they don't fit into the previous categories of people, but you feel that after spending time with them, you've wasted energy and time, leaving you drained. In this case, you must trust your instincts, recognize these vampires, and remove them from your life, even if they seem like good people. Now, if you want to figure out who's really worth keeping in your life, make a list of everyone you interact with. Next to each name, put a check mark. If you feel good after spending time with them, mark it with a plus. If you feel irritated, tired, or have other negative emotions, mark it with a minus. Then ask yourself honestly, do I feel like I'm growing alongside this person, or are they dragging me down? If a person doesn't evoke either good or bad emotions, they're just a passenger. These people also hold you back, because in life you need to move forward, not stand still. It's worth saying goodbye to passengers too. Be completely honest with yourself. Ask, do I really want to hang out with this person, or am I just afraid people will judge me if I stop? This is a crucial point. Many people keep hanging out with people they don't need, simply because they don't want to look bad. But that's self-deception. People almost never get better. More often than not, the opposite happens. As they get older, they reinforce their habits and become worse. Many people are afraid to leave a toxic circle, fearing judgment. But self-respect is more important than anyone else's opinion. Every time you talk to someone you don't want to listen to, you lose a little bit of self-respect. You know you shouldn't be associating with them, but you keep putting up with it. First, you put up with that, then you start putting up with a job you don't like, then a low salary, then limited opportunities. Here's how it works in a chain reaction. You put up with one person, lose respect for yourself, get used to putting up with everything you don't like, settle for less, stop growing, and limit your own potential. You're essentially giving away your energy, time, and freedom simply because you're afraid of what others might think. Decide what's more important to you, maintaining self-respect or living for the sake of others' opinions. When I realized that I had big goals and ambitions, while the people around me were only thinking about how to finish school, get into college, find a job, and then spend their evenings playing games, I saw clearly we weren't on the same path. Their mindset didn't help me grow, it held me back. After I realized this, told them about it, and cut ties with everyone in my circle, my productivity skyrocketed. Why? Because my self-respect returned, and now I understand. No matter how hard it is, it's worth enduring, but not for the sake of familiar people or old fears, but for the sake of the result, for the sake of who you can become if you stop betraying yourself. Now write down 2 to 3 areas where you want to grow. For example, cryptocurrency, business, neural networks. Make a list of 10 people from each area and ask yourself how you can be useful to them, and write to them. For example, maybe you know how to write viral scripts and get a lot of views on YouTube. You can write to another person. Let's do this. I'll teach you how to write a script, and you'll teach me how to invest in cryptocurrency. And there are so many examples like this. There's a person who runs a business and you say, let's do this. I'll help you create a content plan for your business, and you'll share your knowledge and experience from your field with me. Congratulations, you've identified the obstacles holding you back, and if you want to learn how to radically transform your life in just 1 month, click on this video.